So we can derive from that you're an enthusiast.
Yeah, I like it.
What was your favorite experience from the year 2014? Games, trips, moments, they all count. David Strassfield from Kansas City, Kansas. The first time that we did Pax Australia, it was essentially at a place where they do horse racing, which you would think is not the sort of place you would have a gaming convention. In your mind, we were talking about the model. I think that is on the opposite side of where you would usually do that. But somehow it was still great, even though like the exhibition hall was essentially like inside of like a wartime bunker. And then we had like a big top tent elsewhere. And then we had a computer area where water was rapidly pooling near the transformer. And you couldn't actually get to any place there without going through a set of hallways we had erected from tarps. And then even though you were walking in an ostensibly covered lane, a curtain of water was constantly rushing past you so that you had to swim upstream like a salmon to go to the parts of the show that you wanted to go to. And then when we came back for PAX this last time, it was essentially, the show essentially took place inside a kind of sculpture. It is this incredibly like amazing, beautiful building that is the exact opposite of a horse race in every way. I mean, it was big enough that you probably could have raced horses in it, but I'm glad that we were able to turn it around. Now here, you made it. Enough of you came that we could actually have your first PAX in a real place. And I appreciate your faith in us, that we were able to start this place off right and we can keep it going here. So thank you very much.
That's a good one. So occasionally we get invited to do very cool things. And last year we got invited to go to NASA, which was pretty amazing. So
it's real.
Jerry and I taking our 10-year-old boys, just the four of us on sort of a dads and sons trip to fucking NASA was about the coolest thing.
It was hard fucking core.
Yeah.
Dude, and so basically the whole time, because there's a lot of driving. Florida is vast, much bigger than I thought. I mean, I see it on the map, but it's way down there. But if you're actually there, you have to drive anywhere you want to go, like in the real world. You cannot just imagine yourself there yet. And so what happened was we actually had a lot of driving to do. And so we had to try to entertain these boys. And so we had all these word games. You remember Jack the Ripper?
I do remember Jack the Ripper, yeah.
Right? So it's like, what do you call a murderer? Jack the Ripper. Okay, what do you call a murderer who leaks occasionally? Jack the Dripper, right? What do you call a murderer that seizes and doesn't let go? You can see how amusing this might be. I mean, were there any other good ones that you can remember?
What do you call a murderer who leaves a nice reward?
So, best game to play with your 8-year-old? I don't know. I mean, maybe not like the absolute best, but they seemed entertained.
What do you call?
Hold on. And they rarely kill.
What do you call a murderer who's? Now I can't stop. No. What do you call a murderer whose weapon of choice is a long piece of rope that he cracks?
See, I'm telling you. I mean, we can just do this for the next hour and a half if you want. You've said before that you don't think you'd be able to withstand the current Penny Arcade hiring process. What part do you think you'd have problems with specifically? Pat Hobbs, San Antonio, Texas. Yeah, San Antonio. Where's San Antonio at? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think that I would have a hard time. I would have a hard time I would have a hard time contending with Robert.
It's funny. I was going to say the same thing. Like, I know Robert, and so I don't find him super intimidating.
Right.
But if I did not know Robert like we do,
Right.
he would scare the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the angel of death. And so when I try to think about just sort of like putting myself out there, like if someone had hired me to do this job, I wouldn't be able to do it. When I think about putting myself out there, 3 times a week, or you have the strip in the Post, like exposing myself like this in an actual like job context, now it's just like an obsession. I think writing Painter Arcade is like a mental condition. I don't think it's like a job. And I think that if I had been hired to do it, I'm not even sure if I could pull it off. Was anybody at the Q&A yesterday? Now, do you see how I'm taking the questions out of the envelopes and then setting them behind the hat? Do we think it's a better system? I think so. Yeah, it's better. Yeah. Never. You beast. That's enough. Yeah. Do you guys have the term cruising for a bruising down here? Motherfucker's cruising. It's weird to think that the people in that room haven't been subjected to the penny arcade bug yet. Or maybe they are in the middle of being bitten, mid-bite. Did you ever think that the pin trading phenomenon would get this crazy? At Prime and East, it's insane. How has it been so far for South? Sam Overland in Seattle watching the stream. Sup, Sam? Hey, I have traded a shitload of pins. I feel like this disease Michael has invented.
I did not invent it. I stole it from Disneyland.
You're like a mad scientist that's like made some weaponized organism.
I did.
Yeah, it seems like it's been really fun. So once the pins arrived and people were able to purchase them and use them, it's been a lot of fun. And the main thing, like, that would never have occurred. It just never would have occurred to me. It wouldn't have occurred to me to do that. That is absolutely Mike's invention, to the extent that he stole it from someone else. But for my part, I think that it actually serves a really useful social function because, our relationship is in a lot of ways asymmetrical, where I've been talking to you for like 16 years in some cases, and I don't know you yet. I haven't had the opportunity, and I enjoy having the opportunity, but it's sort of ritualized. It's like a catalyst, like it lets us meet each other in like a structured way, which I think is really handy. Because despite what my job is, I'm actually kind of shy. I know Jerry got snipped. These people don't understand. Like, I only like to talk about dicks ironically. Like, as soon as the conversation turns to real dicks, as it did with Abby last night, as soon as you start talking about real dicks, I get very red. And then I become like a hedgehog, like I become like a ball. I can't. All right, I know Jerry got snipped, and Mike went to Hawaii. Again, polar opposites, right? But did Penny Arcade as a company do anything interesting for Christmas? I mean, isn't it like how granular their knowledge? This is asymmetry again. How granular their knowledge is, like of like the contents of my scrotum. It's like 4K. It's just like the highest resolution knowledge.
They know exactly what's going on in your balls.
Yeah. In and around.
Yeah. We do a big Christmas party every year as a company. And there's always like a white elephant gift exchange. I mean, it's the normal stuff, I guess, that companies do. We drink a lot. That might be different.
No, I think that's a universal for the company party. All right. Oh yeah,
red envelope.
Is there red envelope music? Like that should be a thing. Like we need to bring that back. What if one of you was done and wanted to retire, but the other one did not? Ooh. From Parker, Lancaster, PA. Well, I don't even know what that scenario looks like if you quit.
It would change the comic.
Yeah, I'm not sure that scenario is realistic.
Well, that scenario is not.
But the opposite scenario is almost assured.
Yeah, I could keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't even say anything. God, so my favorite.
This feels
like,
so good. It just feels
a side
good.
thing.
Feels good to have that said about you.
Are you guys aware that there is a theory online that the comic has been ghost drawn for like the last, I don't know, decade? You should look it up. Like there are all these websites where they take art from different comics and to try to prove that I'm not drawing it anymore and that there's some ghost artist making it. They're really funny. Like when in reality I just suck and I'm changing all the time. Like, I guess maybe it looks like a different person,
but there's, like, no explanation of any kind. It's like,
No.
well, look at this hand, and then look at this hand.
But they're, like, really mad about it. Like, he won't even admit that he's not drawing it anymore.
Well, yeah, but this is almost certainly our fault, right? Because we used to fish. Remember?
Oh, we did.
We used to fish all the time.
So my favorite thing to do is I'd get a mail that would be like, hey, why does the art look like shit in today's comic? My response would be, hey, listen, I'm really sorry.
Between you, me, and the fence
Between you
post.
and me, Gabe hasn't drawn the strip for a while. I'm trying to do my best. I'm his replacement. They're afraid that, the comic won't be as popular if people find out. I'm trying to draw like him, but it's hard.
Yeah, so where do these theories come from?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's so mysterious. What are your opinions of this new console generation? PS4 versus Xbox One, always on Wii U? That is a good question. I think that the Wii U, I've actually seen some really cool stuff. I don't know if you've seen some of the indie stuff that is on Wii U, actually over in Exhibition Hall. Do you feel like the Wii U is something you have to have?
You have to have one so that you can play Mario Kart and Smash.
New Zelda. I think if you have a fam. Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like that's basically. I feel like that's an automatic purchase, maybe in the way.
But it can't be your only one, is it?
No. No. But it's a must. I think it's a must to have it. As far as PS4, I mean I think that Mike is pretty much devoted to the PS4, and I feel compelled.
Yeah, this generation, last generation, I was a 360 fan, hated the PS3, and this generation, I don't turn on the Xbox. In fact, I tried to turn it on. I tried to get Guardians, the Halo 5 beta thing.
This is a nightmare. Like,
so I tried to download it. Jerry's like, "Oh, it's great. You got to play it." So I'm like, "All right." I had to plug in my Xbox.
You had to get it out of the garbage.
I had to get it out of the trash. I plug it in. It needs like a dozen updates, of course.
Yeah.
So like 30 minutes later, I finally log into the game. And
not even the game. Not even the game.
No, I had to log into Master Chief Collection to go to where I could get the beta. But the menu item, I couldn't actually select it. So I sent you a text, and I'm like, I can't download it. It's not working. What's the problem? And you're like, I have no idea. You sucks to be you. And so the next day, I thought, okay, I'll try it again. Today, the menu item decides to work. I go to start the download, and it starts downloading Halo Channel, which I don't know what that is. But in my head, I'm like, maybe I need to have Halo Channel to play the beta. So I start letting that download, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So I go back into the game, and the Kinect logs my son in. Like, it thinks I'm him. So now none of my stuff works because I'm logged in as a different account, and it took me forever to figure out why. So I unplug the fucking Kinect, and I log back in as myself, and I go in and I start to download the actual beta, but all it says is queuing. It never actually downloads. And I unplugged the thing and I threw it in the fucking closet. I was so mad.
You put it in the naughty closet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, but so that's more or less how that breaks down. I mean, I feel like I need to represent the other side of that thing, and so I try to keep up with what's going on that system. And I've had positive experiences. The things that happened to me never happened to him. As far as always on, I think that's super interesting because the always on question was what most of the console war stuff before launch was about. But it turns out that if you have a system where you can purchase the games digitally, a lot of the always on arguments, like, they don't really apply. Like, you still have to be signed in to use most of your stuff. Like, as a practical matter, if you purchase things digitally, it's the dark vision of the future that we talked about before. So that changed pretty fast, I think. How's the drugs been working for you?
Is that the whole question?
No, it's another.
Because he's going to have to be more specific.
Well, no, it's another incredible wide envelope question. How's the drugs been working for you? Both licit, medication prescribed by a doctor, and less so, medication of the sticky icky and or other variety. Charles Mullen, Columbia Mo. What's up, Charles?
Can we talk about that?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Oh, my son is here.
So,
the medication I take for my anxiety, I still take.
yep.
And has been incredible at leveling me out and
Yes.
sort of helping me.
And recreational drugs are the worst. So definitely don't use those. Even if Trevor brings some over with his 3-foot bong, just say, Trevor, no, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm a good person. But the way that I actually am not taking, I'm not taking the anti-anxiety medication anymore, and instead I worship in the Iron Church. So I found out that once it's so ridiculous, and I hate myself for it, but for some reason, moving really heavy things very short distances, I don't know why this is, but moving heavy things very short distances it is basically, I don't feel the way that I felt before. Yeah. And so I was honestly very surprised about that. But, yeah, I'm sorry. I could talk about that a lot, but I'm going to get another question anyway. David, do you even lift? I mean, what happens is that you start to say things like that unironically, and then you wonder what happened. So you literally say that. Would you please give us an It's a Wonderful Life sketch of what your lives would be like at this moment if you had never met Robert Koo?
Buh.
What do you think? Yes, Robert
Koo,
I'm sorry,
Seattle, Washington.
This is from Story Dreamer in Oregon, not Robert Koo in Seattle, Washington. Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
well, you wouldn't be here.
You wouldn't be here.
I'll tell you that much.
We wouldn't be up here. I think that we would still be making Penny Arcade.
But not as a job.
But yeah, we'd probably have to have real jobs. At some point that I don't know, that system we had of begging for money from our readers would not have sufficed. You know, like our wives would have said, all right, that's cool. Maybe get a job.
Yeah. I mean, because when we have the crazy idea, like a gaming convention for the public, we would have had that idea, and then, we would have gone to Taco Bell. So, I mean, I think that the distinction there is pretty stark. Yeah. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
You done all right. do you guys have any rare collectibles or collections? Yeah, that is a fucking great question. This is from Max in Ohio. 2X Max. So that's pretty extreme.
So something you might not know about Jerry is that he doesn't value objects at all, even when they're very special and you give them to him as a gift. So let's say anyone in this audience, let's say I took months to hand paint you a portrait of Tycho Brahe with acrylic on canvas and gave it to you as a gift. Would you, I don't know, stuff it under your desk? Buy the garbage? Let's say that someone gave you a collectible figure of your favorite League of Legends character. Would you put it in a pile of garbage next to uneaten food? Probably not. So the thing you, oh God, let's say, so right before Child's Play, Robert and Jamie come into our office and they take all of our stuff. And they take it so that they can auction it off. And so they're going through all of our things in our office and they're rummaging through Jerry's desk and there's Christmas presents still wrapped for his children from 2 years ago. He doesn't care about things at all. I mean, do you even recognize how horrible that is?
Michael,
I lead a very, what is it you say?
No, Michael, I lead a life of the mind.
Yeah. I have a rich internal life. I do like things.
That's my other one. You do like things.
And for Christmas this year, Jerry got me like what is one of my favorite things, which was this huge, gorgeous Destiny poster signed by everyone at Bungie. And then my wife had it framed, and it's hanging over our couch right now in our living room.
Like within 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Like, I like to collect things from stuff that I love. Like, I like to have collections and special things like that.
The dragon sickness.
Yeah.
I don't have the dragon sickness. But
no, it's not even that. You don't see objects.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't recognize when something has value.
But that's a distinction, right? Now, I'll give you an example of an object that I do value, right?
Yeah.
I have a gold ring from Pat Rothfuss. And this gold ring, right? And this gold ring entitles me to a favor. That is a thing of value. Right?
All right.
Do you have a scratch on your head?
Yeah, I do. I got scratched.
By what? A jagular? Why do you have it? That is an open wound on your face.
No, it's a scratch. So.
No, here. Van, can you open up the scratch cam? Thanks. Now turn your head so that people can see your fucking gouge.
I got a scratch. I was attacked by a bird. No, that's not true. Actually, I told multiple lies today. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth about what happened. I'm going to do it, honey. I was determined to lie about it all day. And I told 2 people that it was my son that scratched me, and it wasn't.
Was it Kara?
No. It was me.
But you are the scratcher?
So I was in bed with Kara, just going to sleep, not anything weird. And she just scratched her hair. And I'm an asshole. I go, do you have lice? And she goes, no, I don't have lice. And I go, I hope I don't have lice. And she's like, well, I bet you have lice now. And I go, oh no. And I went to scratch my hair like I have lice, and I scratched my head really bad. And I didn't tell anybody.
Well, I can see why.
Because I was so ashamed. And I woke up this morning and it was like bleeding. And then she's like, what the hell happened to your head? And I'm like, I scratched my head really bad when I was trying to make fun of you.
So did you learn an important lesson?
I did, yeah.
Did you learn about yourself? Morak?
Yeah, I lied to Jamie and I lied to Kristen. No, I lied to Jamie and I lied to Gavin.
Yeah, here, but what's the? Do they each get custom lies, or did you?
No,
you
no,
use
I
the
made
lie?
up one solid lie about it being my son. I said that my son scratched me. God, it's hot in here. You never lie?
I never tell the truth. Is this even your final form? Jesse from New York. No, at 1/3 hit points, that's when the metal wings cut straight through the sternum, fold back, and I shed this earthly form.
Red envelope.
Oh, shit. I mean, shoot. Do you fear the day that your kids are exposed to the horror that is the internet? How do you not let this fear keep you up all hours of the night? Well, I've actually already been bitten by this. So you're familiar, I'm certain, with Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Yeah. Well, my son is now familiar with it also. And for 2 solid weeks, he could not sleep without a parent, like, exerting. So parents exert a radius, 1 5-foot square in each dimension of comfort.
Of safety?
That's right. That's right. They cloak children in comfort and safety. And he could not be granted or gain the sleep condition unless he was in that radius. And because he had seen a video that somebody had cut online of a video that he already liked, which is the Duck Song, which is really great. The Duck Song trilogy, first of all, is life-changing. So be a part of that. You'll be a different person by the end of it. But there is a version of it that instead has Chica coming in at the end, making that awful sound and jumping around and basically being a character from Five Nights at Freddy's. And he completely lost his mind. And I think of like a scary picture, like a scary sound, as being relatively low on the horror scale that you can access on the internet. Like, I feel like that was a fucking wake-up call for the types of content that he can experience on there. But, Daddy worked IT. He knows how to control this router. He knows how to he knows how to be that annoying dad that makes you type a password in every time you want to go to YouTube. So, hopefully I can work some medicine on that shit, but yeah, that's 100% real. Hypothetical here. Penny Arcade is over, and you're both ready to move on to children's books. What world is your first book set in, and what age are you creating for? Have you thought about it at all?
Yeah, I even drew a cover for the book, Daddy Lies.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first one that we wanted to do was Daddy Lies, which is well, I guess you can figure it out. But I think that you could take Twisp and Catsby. Like, Twisp and Catsby in the strip is actually kind of dark and weird. But I think that you could do a really fun Twisp and Catsby set like that. But also, I think that the primary thing that would happen if we weren't engaged in this heinous act is I think that we would have an opportunity to blow the Ironwood out crazy.
Yeah.
Like, between Daughters, Lookouts, and Thornwatch.
Oh, hey, do you guys want to see some new Daughters sketches I did on the airplane?
You got them?
Yeah, so I did two different sketches on the plane that I thought were pretty cool.
But didn't you try to do Hannah Older?
I do have a Hannah Older. I posted it on the site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if
I
you'd drawn
switched
another one on the plane.
There's that one.
Oh, different flowers.
Yeah. I think these would be pine cones in the middle. I don't know. I think that would look really
Well, yeah,
interesting.
like a crown, right?
Yeah, like a crown.
That's fly. But anyway, I think between Lookouts and Daughters especially, I think that I could work for the rest of my life and not get bored for a second. There was once. Sorry, I got it. There was once a time, Friday, January 4th, 2008. A very specific time then, I guess. The Not That We Mind comic, to be exact, when a company's attempt to buy review space and sway you with provided trinkets was met by ridicule. Recently, we've been getting regular updates about what you think about whatever products companies send you, and their headphones and computers show up in the next few comics after the review post goes up. What has changed? And I'm going to append what has changed, Michael. I'm going to alter the question slightly.
Yeah.
What has changed, Michael?
I really like free stuff.
Is it dragon sickness?
It's dragon sickness. I like getting free things.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll just move forward.
No, but I feel like if I talk about them, then I'm providing some service at least.
To who?
To readers who might find... you know what? A guy brought a Razer laptop to have signed at the signing.
That
and
is
he's
true.
like, you know what? I bought this because I saw that you liked yours.
And he did like it.
Yeah, and I'm not... If I get something, a lot of times we get stuff and it is shit, and then, we don't talk about it. But if I get something that is actually legitimately cool, then I have no problem talking about it.
Yeah, that's true. And you let people know, too.
Yeah.
You let them know where it comes from. Do you catch yourself having any get-off-my-lawn moments with your children? Does your wife call you out on it? This is from Brian in Rochester, New York. Yeah, exactly, but it's like my cyber lawn. Because, essentially, the part of the house that I have to cordon off from him is like my computer. So I have to in the same way that the other generation might have waved a shillelagh at young people, I have to come in and say, listen, and I have no excuse for it. It's son, I need to put Dragon Age Inquisition. It is the least, there is zero force. There is zero force behind these proclamations. It's just pure selfishness. But maybe the lawn thing was too. Maybe the groomed lawn was important.
Kids weren't going to hurt that lawn. Yeah, it's just an old person thing.
It's just you get old. Have you had to regulate?
Yeah, sometimes, but it's always the same thing. It's listen, Daddy really needs to play Destiny right now. I need the television. All right? Zur is here this week, and he's selling Icebreaker. So no more cartoons. It's Zur's Day. I don't understand why that's so hard to understand.
Contrary to popular opinion, what things are actually smaller in Texas?
I haven't seen anything that's smaller. I got a burrito that I could barely eat a quarter of.
Did it chase you out of the restaurant?
I
Did
had
it
to
rear
leave.
up?
I left in tears.
You have been defeated by it? Yeah, it has not been my experience that anything has been scaled down. Why is it that Pax Prime is the only PAX held when school is not in session? And this applies not only to the young'uns, but us older folk that teach. Given that Pax Prime sells out during the day, again, some of us have jobs where we can't be watching Twitter all day. There's some bitterness. This means that we cannot attend.
Robert,
I have heard that complaint before.
Yeah, Robert has a very extensive theory about PAX ticket sales. But what it essentially boils down to is no matter what system we use, and everybody who doesn't get a ticket has their own system that they think would be better. No matter what system we use, there will be
a percentage, and it's a mathematical thing.
Thousands of people who don't get a ticket and who are upset. It doesn't matter what we do. And I guess that's cool with him. I don't know. He has figured that this is the best way to do it.
Yeah. As far as that time, I think that what happens when you do a convention that sort of occurs on this scale, when you can get the building reliably is really important. It's basically it's like when you try to get a venue for your wedding or something, right? It's like you have to have the whole thing set up so far in advance, and that's what happens with PAX Prime. There's a lot of conventions that take place in that venue, and that's the time that we can get it reliably that people can count on. So it's a pain in the ass, and I apologize, but I have substantial beef with our finite universe also.
What?
Thank you. Thank you, backstage. You have to sell PA for reasons. You spend the time to find your replacements, people you can trust, people we, the fans, could trust. You are happy and confident that these people are the right people. What is the one piece of advice you would give to these new owners?
Wow.
What bit of wisdom experience do you each have after these long years of service to the comic gods? This is from Fat Soda, Australia, and Enforcerland. Man, oh man, what do we got? I mean, it's so weird to think we have to be good at it. If we weren't at least okay at it, like we wouldn't have been able to do it this long. Or having done it this long, we should have at least have learned something, right? There has to be information.
I think the biggest piece of advice I would have would be to make the comics so that you guys laugh. Like, make yourselves laugh and don't worry about anything else, right?
Yeah.
You can't worry about, are people going to think this is funny? What if they don't like this joke? Like,
yeah. 2 days
later,
later,
go insane.
Let's say that the catastrophe does strike and someone does not like your JPEG, right? 2 days later, you have another opportunity, and if you give them something good, they'll forgive you, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll endure your flights of fancy, like when you do long, crazy fan fiction stuff.
What's funny is there's always...
It's a relationship. It's asymmetrical, but it is an actual relationship. It has to be maintained.
With every strip, pretty
you
much
become
guaranteed,
more and more my servant.
No. There's always somebody who looks at a strip and says, oh, geez, finally one that makes me laugh, right? But it's that's a strip for somebody. Every strip is that strip for someone. They haven't laughed in 2 weeks, and then we make a strip and like, Jesus, thank you, finally.
What is it? Finally a reason to leave their misery chamber.
Right, but then that same strip is also the strip that kicks off 2 weeks of crap for someone else. Jesus, now they suck.
I heard Gabe's not even drawing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that the main thing, that's important. The schedule is important.
This clock isn't moving.
No, there's nothing moving about that clock, but that's okay.
Well, it's not okay.
No, I don't think time.
Now it's going up. Rad.
So time is reversing. I just want to give everybody a heads up. Enjoy it. Start that novel. The main thing also is that when you have an opportunity to meet the people that make your life possible, you are obligated to treat them well. They make your ridiculous, borderline offensive life possible.
Oh, it's not borderline.
And you have to give them their props. That is a novel. How has having children made you reevaluate the limits of free expression and the costs of artistic merit for works you create, consume, and either explicitly or implicitly endorse?
Is that red?
No, of course not. Of course not. How do you inoculate your children from works you deem inappropriate for their maturity? Just talked about this. And how does viewing art through the lens of a parent cause you to interact with all art in a different manner? I ask as a former diehard free expression / angry white youth who still believes the onus should be on parents and communities, but after interacting more with young people and getting more empathetic to the difficulties some people have in dealing with difficult subjects, is conflicted in his understanding of the subject. Good Lord.
I mean, obviously, like my son is here, but I'm not this. We don't speak like this at home. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
This is something we do for the internet. This sort of material.
Well, it's something that we commit to a performance space.
Right.
Right? Like a stage or a movie.
This
right?
is the art that we make, and it's not appropriate for kids. And so we are not these people when we are with our kids.
Right. I think there's the idea that that it is possible to have work that doesn't appeal to or is appropriate for all audiences. And children we cannot gauge everything by what is appropriate for children.
Yeah, I agree.
Every restaurant cannot be McDonald's.
Yeah.
It can't just be chicken nuggets, good as they are, right? Or dino chicken, or pizza rolls.
I think that it is the job of parents to pay attention to what their kids are absorbing.
It is the job of parents to curate the world.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think it's the job of artists to try to create things that will be acceptable to the largest audience, right?
No. Yeah, it may not be possible. Different people actually perceive the world in different ways.
Also, I think it's even more than parents. I think it's important for people to curate it for themselves. I hate this idea that because I don't like a piece of art, I'm okay with boycotts. I think it's great to say, I'm not going to buy this. I even think it's great to say, I'm not going to buy this. Here are all the reasons why you shouldn't buy it. But I don't think it's okay to go that step further and say, it shouldn't exist.
I can't provide the counterpoint to that. That's what I think also. I noticed that you haven't been to E3 in a long time. Why not? Is it not that helpful to your job anymore? A big part of it is that getting that time, it was a pretty substantial amount of time during the week. Getting that time away from the family started to feel wrong to a certain extent.
Especially as we travel more and more for PAX.
Yeah. Now that we're committed to the PAX shows, going to E3, which is so early, it's so far ahead of the holiday season, that a lot of times the things that you're seeing, a lot of times the things that you would see at an E3 don't resemble the products that they become. And it's weird. It's almost like a magic show. It's almost like a Vegas-style magic extravaganza because there's so much money riding on that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so much money riding on that stuff. And a lot of times, there's no way to vet any of it. There's no way to vet any of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen demos at E3 that are just smoke and mirrors, and you can tell.
Oh, where people pretend to move joysticks.
Yeah. It's not a great place to actually go and see games and play games.
Do you remember where we had that? Was it a Star Wars game where? What's that? How did you know? How the fuck did you know? Yeah. So were you there? Did you run the demo? No, for real. You were what? Oh, thank you so much. All right. So we had seen, and I ended up thinking that aside from some weird stuff, I thought that The Force Unleashed had some really cool stuff in it, and I thought that it moved the fiction in a really cool way. I thought it was a cool way to interpret the start of the Rebel Alliance. But when we saw the demo, there wasn't that much there. And do you remember how somehow we had gotten in? We wanted to see the demo again a second time, and we got in, and it was literally exactly the same demo. And then, because I remember it really stuck out in my mind the first time we had seen it. Right around the end, somebody from the team or someone who was there as a part of the presentation went, "Yeah."
He said the same thing out loud at the same time.
And I was like, are you supposed to say yeah? Like, are you like John yeah? Like, why are you saying exactly the same thing at the same time? Are you doing this the whole time? Do you have to say yeah every time the fucking
He does.
I found that very odd. And so, I mean, ultimately, for all of those reasons, like, going there didn't seem like a huge. It didn't seem like a priority for us. Do you think NASA created thunderstorms so they could hide the sound of space battles? Matt Yoakum, Austin, Texas. Having been to NASA, I wouldn't put it past them. They made a machine. They made a machine. It's this crawler that carries spacecraft to the launch pad, and it gets. God, it takes a gallon of fuel to travel 1 foot. These guys, they think big. They think big, and they think weird.
They do.
Did you find his frank discussions of what would be required for Martian?
Oh, yeah.
For
like,
what
we
would be
talked to some NASA dudes who were legit talking to us, not like a PR person would, but like, here's what we would actually have to do to go to Mars. It's weird. The stuff they would need to put on that spaceship is not okay. It's legal in some states.
It was an eye-opening, frank discussion. Like, oh yeah, if you were traveling to Mars, yeah, you would have to be crazy high. Yeah, you would definitely need drugs to make it through that. And it's like, oh, okay, we're just talking about that straight up. Well, do you have any strains you've been working on? Because if you need third-party assessment, I know a guy. I know 2 guys. Not us. Different people. Mike and Jerry. Yeah. This is some fan fiction shit. Mike and Jerry, you have hugged attendees before. Oh. But I think I speak for everyone when I say we want to see you 2 hug.
What?
A real hug, count to 5. Nora, Austin, Texas.
No. Every once in a while, we'll be sitting next to each other at a restaurant or something, and your skin will touch me, and it's the most disgusting thing. I hate it.
It has that like slightly moist sort of grub-like quality.
No, we don't touch each other, and we will never touch each other. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna hug you.
I'm ready.
No.
We need to work this out.
I'm not gonna hug you. That would be so weird. No, I'm not gonna hug you. Oh my God.
Think about the GIFs. That's the currency of the internet. It'll be like one where we like hug and then it will show like the Death Star explode. Right? That's what'll happen. All right. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. But I want to make sure. Nora, are you here? Maybe not.
She's not even here, so.
No, here. No, here.
Doesn't
So
matter.
Nora, no. A real hug. No, hold on. I can sell this. Count to 5. I just want to make sure that Nora is getting what she wants.
She wants us to hug and count to 5?
Yeah. I know it's going to, listen, you have to take one for the team, so to speak.
This is so wrong.
Okay, now, hold on. So once we make contact, You may see reality warp and shift. No, so you count. No, you should put it on backwards, like a hazmat suit, and then put the mask. Oh, all right. Here we go. And count to 5 fast. None of this like 1/1000 shit. Here. I want you, so imagine in your mind that you are a lighthouse being buffeted by a storm. Just put your hands to your sides. I will handle this.
First name just sounds so good next to my last name and shit. I wanted to see how far I could get without calling you, and I barely made it out of my garage. See, I want to wait until she falls asleep, then wonder if she's dreaming about us.
Never speak of it.
Thank God it's not being streamed. Kara, he smells good. Smells good. For a while, I thought esports were the new thing, but now it looks like it's YouTubers. What's your opinion on all this?
Oh my God! Yesterday.
Let me read the question, and then you can tell the fucking story. What's your opinion on all this? Am I getting too old for all of this? Yes. It seems that they're the new rage for kids these days. Also true. Adam Braham, Dallas, Texas.
So yesterday we had an autograph signing in the queue room, and it was for 2 hours. And a lot of times, like at Pax East or Prime now, where people are kind of used to us, we're scheduled for 2 hours, but after an hour, there's no line, and so Jerry and I just sit there and feel bad, which I think Robert takes some weird pride or like joy in, because he knows that we're just sitting there alone.
Dude, it is the worst feeling. Like, you feel like such a fucking asshole.
If you're at a table to sign autographs and you've got your pens and no one is there.
No, and then you sort of fill that empty space, like arranging and rearranging these pens into what you imagine is some mathematically optimal shape.
And you make up these ideas like, well, there's probably like a really big panel or something going on right now. And so we're there, and I felt really good because our line went for 2 hours. It wasn't a long line, but there were always people coming up until we were done. And meanwhile, there was this massive crowd over on the right. And I couldn't figure out, it didn't look like a line because there were too many people, and they were not really like lined up. And then they started screaming and shouting. And I asked what was going on. And it was a YouTuber. What? Markiplier. I don't even know if it's one word. Is his name Mark? Yeah. They were going apeshit for this guy. I'm too old. I don't know the YouTubers. I had to ask my son. I was like, who is this Markiplier guy?
Did he hook you up?
Gabe, do you know Markiplier? No? See, he doesn't know him. He hasn't reached the 10-year-olds yet.
See, we're too old and he's too young.
Yeah.
But man, if you are 11 to 30, woo!
Yeah.
It's Markiplier City. But no, I think that it is probably healthy. I think that it is healthy to have that experience. Say, oh, all right, yeah, it is over.
You know what? It was a good run.
You are both stranded on an island. Are you doing text?
It's text time.
Oh, shit.
It's going to be a little bit, but text time is happening soon.
Yeah. You are both stranded on an island with nothing but each other and a jar of Vegemite. Who gets eaten first?
I don't know, you look pretty tender, man.
It isn't about flavor. It's about your capacity to defeat me in any context.
Yeah, I would be devoured.
I'd start with your head. You know what I mean? That seems like the polite thing to do. Do you think Robert has gotten any better at picking red envelope questions versus white envelope questions?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 100% communique from the failure zone. Oh, no, this is very tantalizing. You know what? I think I'm going to let him put the text in so that you can see. Now, is it legible? Can you read it? Okay, good. I'm going to see it too because I don't actually remember writing it. That's one of the weird things about doing Penny Arcade is that somebody will like, hey, great strip on Monday. I'm like, what fucking strip was that? That was Monday, man. I can't keep track of that. The hats are real, though. You don't know until you get here that it's like that they're really wearing them. I don't even know what would happen if you tried to wear a cowboy hat where I'm from. I don't even know. I don't know what the result would be. If you laugh at your own comic, like, does that make you an asshole? I think it might. I think it might not be okay. I want to try to keep my shit together. Oh, we know where this is going. That's so cool. So you scroll down and there's the Dude, so how auspicious is it that the punchline happened to be below the fold?
That's good.
That's crazy pants. Mike Rahulik, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey. Well, he'll be in there. Let me get the actual comic done, and then I will embellish.
Is it better to burn out or fade away?
Burn out.
Matthew Little Elm, Texas.
We're burning out.
Would we know? I mean, would we even be able to perceive the difference? I mean, what is it when you're at your own convention and you see a line 3 times the size of people who are apparently screaming like they're a part of some doomsday cult?
Okay, are you saying that now is the time to burn out?
No, I'm saying that we have already faded away.
Oh.
No, fair enough. Thanks,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, this is actually connected to what I was talking about before. So, what was your favorite strip you made this year? Least favorite? See, I do not remember Monday's comic.
No. We're not the right people to answer that.
God, at this moment, I do not remember a single strip. I know that we make comics for a living, but I can't think of a single comic. You know what? I thought that the Destiny comic was actually really good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my favorite.
And I had only a tangential connection to it, but that kicked off what's going to be a series of fan fiction type strips. So I think it was actually important too. What was the last movie, TV show, game that made you cry? Yeah. Yeah, My Little Pony Equestria Girls. I found the character of Sunset Shimmer very compelling. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And then obviously in Equestria Rocks, where she has an opportunity at the Battle of the Bands to sort of redeem herself.
What the hell are you talking about?
Sid, you don't have a daughter, man. You don't know what it's like out here. It's really, really good. It's an intense experience. It's a real thrill ride from start to finish. I don't know why the villains had better songs. I don't know. I guess they were ancient evil siren dragons. That's probably what it was.
Are you about done?
Here's the fucking reality, man. I could talk about My Little Pony for a very long time. A very, very long time. My son has a My Little Pony OC. It's Cherry Pie. He's an inventor. Yeah, that's my fucking house. I got those kids. Man, that made me cry. Like
I don't remember.
Well, Last of Us is almost certainly the case for you.
Yeah, I guess that would be the last game.
Yeah, sure. and I pushed that thing off. I pushed it away.
When did Brothers come out? Was Brothers after Last of Us?
Did you cry when Icebreaker dropped? See, I'm giving you a Destiny joke. Are you not pleased?
I am pleased, but you're doing it ironically.
Yes, I'm doing it.
You don't care about Icebreaker.
You don't know what its stats. You don't know its upgrade path. You don't know about my Ascendant shards.
You continue to do it, still making fun of me.
Is there another type of shard they have to differentiate? Is that why you have Ascendant shards and then the regular shards?
He's not actually trying to talk to you. This is the thing you have to understand. He's not having a conversation. He's trying to make fun of us. You cannot give him what he wants.
He cannot be allowed to win. I messed it up. Okay, I keep pushing this, and I apologize, but I messed it up at at the Lego Movie. Like that I don't know. That movie actually gets into some pretty. It's funny and goofy, but good Lord, at the end it gets into some real shit.
Uh-oh.
I think it's a matter of record that in the years you guys have been doing the strip, you have weathered some PR crises. Yeah. But I've watched a lot of your Twitch and a lot of PA the series, and it's totally clear that you're both incredibly nice guys. So it's working. It's like Selsun Blue. Like you can feel it tingling. How do you reconcile your turbulent public persona with maintaining a sense of yourself as fundamentally nice guys? Do you still feel okay when stuff like Dick Wolves happens? Is controversy just a part of public life? Yes. Or do you ever feel like lightning rods for any particular reason? Yeah, I think the trick, and we talked about this a little bit with Twitter already, is that from very small amounts of information, our minds create like a whole person, right? Like we create like an entire person that we can then hate freely with just absolutely just hate them either for amusement or for some other reason. And I'm not evil. I am not actually Satan. But when I would read those things, it would cause me to ask the question of myself, am I Satan? And obviously I would look in the mirror, I would check for a cape, horns, pitchfork, hooves, and I didn't see any of those things. But I did see a person that had a lot to learn about other people. And I've made that my mission to do it. But I'm not evil, I'm just dumb. And sometimes, and I apologize, but I'll get there. You just got to give me a chance.
Yeah, I think that it's a human thing. You know, yeah, I think yesterday I said that Twitter was like a net loss, which might not be true, but I think for creators it can be tough because, you know, if you walk down the street, if you're just walking downtown, and 10 people walk by you, just strangers, and they say, "Looking good today. Hey, you look nice today," and then the 11th person says, "You look shit today, and you smell really bad."
You smell like poop.
Yeah. Even though it's a complete stranger who might be insane, you're going to spend the rest of the day going, "Oh my God, do I smell like..." Yeah, you're going to feel like, no matter, even though it was one person out of, 11, it's just human nature, I think, to read that stuff and go, "Oh my God, maybe I am like a horrible person." And that learning to get over that is something, like, it has to be learned. Like, you have to teach yourself to not let that affect you.
But here's the trick, is to not let it affect you, like not let it destroy you, but also try to find the lesson that is in it.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, we are like the least qualified people to be public individuals. Like, we're just not built for it at all. Besides entertainment, what do you most want to bring to the world? What would you have the masses take away from your life and your work? The best thing I have ever made is my son. And yeah. And I think
and
that
you
I've
needed
been
help
able
for
to.
that.
Yeah, it was co-op. And I think that I've had a good time. I've enjoyed entertaining you. I've done my best at it, but you're going to see the name Elliot Hulkins, and just remember that I was a part of it. Do you like Cheetos?
That's not necessary. Well, I was letting you have your moment.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
What am I supposed to say after that?
Nothing. I'm just messing with you.
Jackass.
Oh, cowboy. Oh, does it need to be a cowboy? Do we need to localize? A brisket fairy. Many of the strip search contestants have found work in your empire or through you, a symptom of your willingness and ability to help others. Have you ever casually met... Because it would sort of pool under their lip, right? Have you ever casually met someone and later discovered an ulterior motive requesting your assistance? Do you find it difficult to make new friends from people who might ask your help as opposed to industry peers? Well, industry peers
Good question.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a great question, but industry peers are actually just as likely to operate, if not more likely to operate in that fashion. Building relationships in a context where there's a perceived power differential is a very complicated business.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that most of my close friends, maybe all of my really close friends, I've known since before Penny Arcade, or around the beginning of Penny Arcade when Penny Arcade was worthless and could not help you at all. Those people are still my very good friends. And then, more recently, I really just focus on my family and the people at Penny Arcade. Like, the people inside that office are the ones that I care about.
The circle of family is just a little bit wider.
Yeah.
Enough to include the rest of those people. I have a tendency that I have been punished for repeatedly to believe the best in people. But I can't not do it. As many times as I have been injured materially and financially by this possible.
Real talk time.
This policy.
He has a problem with that. You get taken advantage of, I think.
But if I'm not open to that, there's going to be somebody who really needs my help, and I'm not going to be able to do it. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I respect that. Like, whenever you do it, I always am like, why are you doing this again? But
why are you how you are?
But on the opposite side of it, I'm the exact opposite, where I just assume that everyone wants to take advantage of me, and so I avoid making friends or meeting new people. So I don't know which one's better.
Well, I do it twice as much, so it's really there's no net difference.
What are your best books/films of the year? Books of the year. Did The Martian come out this year? No. Maybe I just read it this year. I think The Martian was super good. Oh, God, what was the name of that book? I'm super bad with names.
Which one?
The one where it's like a ship AI, but it gets put into a body. Ancillary Justice. Thank you.
Bam, thank you.
And then there's a new one, Ancillary Sword, which I haven't read yet. I don't know. Maybe it's good. What about you?
Yeah, I just started reading. It's called the Southern Reach trilogy. Yeah, it's cool, right? The first book is called Annihilation, and it's like 200 pages, and it's a pretty. I mean, it's a pretty thoughtful, meditative science fiction story. But like I say, it's very short. So if you don't like it, at least it didn't take you very long.
Yeah, I tend not to read books when they come out. I tend to discover old books that I missed. And so I went through a phase where I read an old series called The Black Company.
Oh, my God, The Black Company.
Yeah. If you have not read The Black Company, it's about 1 million books, and you will love it.
So the people who said woo, they have read it. And wouldn't you like to have that emotion? The Black Company is so entertaining. So imagine a fantasy, like a fantasy warrior, like a swords and sorcery type thing, but it's from the perspective of a mercenary company instead of like a super powerful warlock. Yeah. Imagine if it's a communique from the people who actually have to live in a world where wizards are always going batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's vital. Thank you for Club PA. It has been a real treat for me as a fan. It's a small price to pay. I'm so glad you think so. For the additional insight into your world. How has it been for you? It has been super good because every time, this is by Alan McNair from Austin, Texas. Every time we have a PAX now, there is also a Club PA meetup. So we get together and we take a picture, and they can ask us questions if they want. But it's really, it's absolutely helped the site.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. But the main thing is that after we did the Kickstarter, we realized that a lot of people just don't care.
Yeah, there are people who don't care about ads.
It doesn't bother them at all. And so because we came from a completely other era of the internet where we always felt like having an ad on the site was
intrusive.
It was an intrusive, or it was something that we were making you endure. Not everyone feels like that. But then when you go to most sites, especially gaming sites, and you have to scroll down past the ad to read a fucking article.
Who was the one on Polygon you showed me the other day? It took up the whole monitor.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You got to do what you got to do. But I'd rather not do that if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
And so if you care about that, there's Club PA.
But also you get, the pin and a bunch of... I think it's for people who have... There are people, I think, who come to the site and read Pin Arcade, and they just, it's a funny comic. And I think there are Pin Arcade fans who want the podcast and want the videos and want the pins.
There are Penny Arcade fans. I have seen them.
Yes.
North Korea hacks your Google apps for business accounts and leaks compromising photos of Jerry with a few of the office scooters. I'm trying to figure out how that would work. They demand that you remove that strip concept from your ideas list or further shames will be divulged. Which strip is it?
Which strip does North Korea want removed?
Yeah, who knows?
We've pissed off a lot of people, but I don't think we've pissed them off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
I don't know.
That's from Brian in Rochester, New York. Like, see,
Maybe they really hate Twisp Catsby. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
they think it's like some really complicated allegory when it's actually about a demon and a cat.
Yeah.
But see, but that actually goes into something. Like, we are damaged in such a way that we often do not know if something is offensive or not.
Oh, we absolutely don't know.
Right? So when he's like,
Well,
he's looking at it, it's like, oh, it's like, well, what weird thing? It's like, well, I can't think of anything offensive we've ever done.
Yeah. So this is a funny story.
Is it?
Yeah. Yesterday, we wrote a strip that was so horrible.
Do you want me to read it? We can still draw it.
We can still do it. So, well, we don't even have to read it. We can have the conversation. A lot of times our comics are just conversations, right? So yesterday I said to you, hey, my mom, and Dad, it was really neat that you came out to dinner with us, and I know my mom really appreciated it. She likes it when we're together.
Yeah. Well, it was really cool. I had a chance to talk to your dad, and it was just really cool. I guess I just like talking to dads. My dad died.
No one else laughed. See, we don't know when it's not funny. To me, it's hilarious.
We behind this curtain, we rolled around on the floor.
I told it to Kara, and she's like, oh my God, that's so sad. And I was like, maybe she didn't get it. So I said it again. She's like, that's horrible. But do you remember when you were talking about, it was like, you were really sad. You were talking about your dad and how sad it was. And I just started playing Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. Yeah, we're not good people. But that's why when we do get into trouble and people are like, oh my God, that comic was so offensive. How did you not know? We really don't know.
We need help. So it's kind of the point where we'll like sort of float something out on the email. It's like, is this evil?
Oh yeah, so we have an internal email for the Penny Arcade office, and a lot of times I'll be like, hey, here's tomorrow's comic, and it's not like, hey, I want you guys to see it first. It's like, is this gonna get us in trouble?
I asked for this sound, and I'm still terrified.
Penny Arcade, Lookouts, Automata, Sand, The New Kid. That's a lot of drawing for one man to take on. Is there a time coming where Mike Krahulik will no longer be known as the artist of Penny Arcade, but rather its art director?
Ooh.
And is he okay with that? This is from Cyrus in Austin. That's a really good question. It's timely, too.
I quit.
I'm done. No. I just started an art class inside Penny Arcade. On Thursdays now, me and the designers, and actually Katie was there too.
Katie Rice.
I'm teaching them how to draw Penny Arcade because that's a lot of shit to draw, and I can't be expected to draw all of it. So I am absolutely moving into more of sort of an, I guess, art director role.
But not for the strip proper.
No. I mean, I'm always going to draw the strip. Maybe. But, especially with things like pins, we've got the Strip Search kids. A lot of them are drawing pins now for us.
That's true.
Posters.
Can you talk about the next set for the...
I don't think I can, actually.
Okay, all right, never mind. Well, no, the next set for the...
Yeah.
No, you think?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to. All right. Who cares? I own this company, goddammit. So our unique pins for next year at PAX East, I won't have Brudax anymore. He won't have Helmet Tycho. I'm going to have Gabby, which was drawn by Moo. And you're going to have, I think, is it pronounced Taiki?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to have the female versions of Gabe and Tycho.
Gender swaps. They're super good. They're super good designs.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. What's that? Oh,
Rule
yes.
34. That's what we should call that set.
Rule 34. Yeah, so there's a lot more stuff that needs to get drawn that I can't draw, and I can't draw everything. So I will be doing a lot more sort of, I guess, helping and managing other artists.
Right. But I've been impressed, like, after Automata, because typically speaking, when we do a big project, it doesn't run alongside the regular strip. We usually take the updates. We actually use the actual update days for the comic. But you were able to do that and the Destiny one and the League of Legends one, more or less like in line with the rest of the work. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that you can actually do a lot more work.
I guess I could.
All right. What was the scariest moment of your life? Haunch in Boulder, Colorado.
The scariest moment of my life was when we lost my youngest son, Noah, at California Adventure for about, maybe, 30 minutes, honey? Yeah. It was the scariest moment of my life. I've never experienced anything like that fear, running around that theme park looking for him. It was a nightmare. What was the scariest moment of your life? Scary movie or something?
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street. No, Ronya was, you know how sometimes there'll be like a iron sort of banister that you'll like use your hand on, like to go down a set of like concrete stairs? And she thought that it would be cool to hang off of that on the top so that she could fall off of it directly onto a set of stone stairs. And at that time, I was riding my bike to work, and so I could not get to her.
Oh, you couldn't get home
I
super
couldn't
quick.
get home. I had to ride my bike like a devil. And that part of town used to be a train yard, and I actually got my wheel stuck in the rut between like the pavement and the railing, and I was going so fast that I actually like sort of like punched through it, but it shattered one of the pedals. So then I was like pedaling with one foot like this, and then I got there and she was unrecognizable, and they make you wait 20 minutes to see if you have a concussion, and so we just had to sit there and stare at her while she cried
Buh.
for 20 minutes, and then a nurse came in with a popsicle, and it was fine.
Yeah. Kids are resilient. Give me that. You just read the last one. I think this might be our last one.
I think you might be right.
That's a long one. 2 questions. What the hell took you so long to include the lowly South in your expos? I mean, seriously, you went to Australia first, the second-rate Texas of the world? Guess that's a thing. Number 2, the tone, artistry, and direction of your comics has gradually shifted over the years, almost in direct correlation to your burgeoning family lives and growing brand conglomerate. Do you feel that you are becoming the George Lucas of webcomics of the webcomics industry? Do you ever wish you could go back to your angry, starving artist roots of the early 2000s? This is from Andy in, I'm going to say Pearland, Texas? Pearland? We definitely were angrier as young men, but I don't wish to go back to that. It's actually very hard to live that way, I think, and be angry all the time. Like, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's sort of the domain of young people.
Right.
I think eventually you get older and you don't have time for that sort of anger.
You don't want to find the place in town that has the cheapest top ramen.
Right.
Right? As for why it took so long, we apologize, but we're here now, and it has been our great pleasure to serve you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your PAX.